Good morning. Today is September the 30th. We're at the end of the month. And before we go any forward, I just want to remind you guys that are taking in this content that any opinion, news, research, analysis, prices, or information provided contained on this video is going to act as an opinion. This doesn't constitute as market advice or trade ideas. This is just my thoughts, and we will not accept any liability for any losses or any profit gain based off of this information. So what you're seeing is only my thoughts, and I am not certified to provide financial advice for anybody. So uh, if you do see anything related to this, and you do win or lose, this is because you provided that trade setup. This is not based off of what I'm saying. So the guys here, the guys at Day Traders Versus, we want to thank you guys for consuming our content. And if you get any value from it, drop a like and subscribe. And we're going to go ahead and move forward. So the daily, you can see, as I mentioned prior, that we're basically in a range near this low from last week, and us being in this range, is kind of basically setting us up for an opportunity to either push forward or drop down lower to some of the weekly points of interest, right? So I know we're on the daily, but I want to pull up the weekly chart. We just missed this weekly order block, and we have an imbalance right here that we could come down to, and another order block here, right? If we want to go bearish, these are going to be our points of target, points of interest. If we need to push up into this weekly imbalance, right? And let me just pull up the weekly chart, which I'll go over this more on the video that I do later on, because I'll do it like a review video. If we need to push up more, this will be our point of interest going into next week, right? So back to the daily. Let's pull this off. So we took out the low. Price held near the low. This seller side liquidity. We made the high and the low on Wednesday, and we've traded inside of that range ever since, and even before, right? Fair value gap here, downside to the downside. Our high was made here near the midpoint, 37.3250 midpoint, and the high of the week was 37.3660, and we rejected the low here at 3600.5, and then we're sitting around the midpoint as we speak at 3668.50. So question is, do we simply hold inside of the previous day candle, or do we push up and push out into this range, or do we push down? So we're inside of a range for the week, a large range, very, very large range, but we've traded off the lows, moving near some resistance areas right here near the weekly opening price. And then we have this fair value gap low right here near these highs, near the highs of Tuesday and Monday. So we could still be pushing up a little further into some lower time frame points of interest, and if not, then we reject down. So I'm kind of, again, neutral to bearish still, but I will take a bullish setup if I see it. So we're going to go to the 4-hour, going to the 4-hour. Switch over to the 4-hour. All right. So the 4-hour, right? Low order block, held here. Retest of the order block right here. Have a fair value gap downside right here. Low to high. And we've just traded through it, right? We have a bullish order block, right? On the lower time frame is been mitigated. But here on the 4-hour, you can see that we could still be possibly using this location, this gap as resistance now. It was attempted support. It failed, trade through it, and now it could be acting as resistance. So we'll need to pay attention to this. You can see that the midway point of this fair value gap was 36.82. Our high on the day is 36.80.10. So I'm going to be looking for something along the lines of, if we do continue up, it needs to hold around 36.67.50 down to no further than 36.50. Because this puts us around the daily. So if we open up on the next 4-hour candle, I will consider a bullish move as long as we hold above these prices down to the daily. Right. And if we want to take a bearish move, I'm going to be looking for it to reject. So I'll be waiting for the time and sales to set me up on that. Right. Give me a sign of whether or not I should enter. And we'll take it to the 4-hour, from the 4-hour chart to the 1-hour chart. 1-hour chart. One-hour chart. Order block. Fair value gap. Holds the fair value gap and rejects the low of the fair value gap. Pushes up, takes out this high. This high leads us into another point of interest. This bearish fair value gap that got us down to those lows, and it broke through it. And we could be using this as demand. We have a little small fair value gap here and another one here. I didn't annotate this yet, but you can see it. Low, the high fair value gap, lower the fair value gap, higher fair value gap, lower the fair value gap. And if we come down into that, we could possibly see that as support. Order block starting here to here, we could hold possibly in that area. And then we've reached a point of interest to the downside in this order block on the 1-hour, which we annotated right here. And if this does want to reject, this is definitely a point that we can reject from. But if it's going to reject and continue down here, we have to consider these areas as potential areas that it could hold. Again, order flow is going to tell us that on time sales, whether or not this is going to be held or not. If we just create a new order block to balance out the price here, we can look for it to push up to the weekly. There's another small fair value gap here, and then an order block here. All right, so that's what the hour looks like. Drop down to the 15-minute. Again, everything lining up as we go from higher to lower time frame. Fair value gap, downside, high to low. Our rejection was pretty much at the high of this fair value gap right here. Got an order block right here. And we're rejecting it right now. Maybe getting it set up pre-market. If we can hold below this candle. I'm not ready to trade yet, so I still got to get a couple things open before I do that. And this low of this fair value gap on the 15-minute is 36.50. 170 may possibly get holds in that. It lines up with the higher time frame as well, and then we would look to target back to this high of it fair value gap and further on next to the weekly. So that's pretty much what I'm looking at for today. I'll wrap up the week with overall analysis of what's going on into next week in a later video, but that's what I'm looking at today. As far as what's going on in economics, we got a lot of news today, starting at 8:30. Core CPI, personal income, and personal spending. They're rated as a yellow, low impact news, but right now, I'm definitely considering those at least a medium. FOMC member, consumer sentiment, another FOMC member speech to close out the day. So it's a lot of stuff going on. So if you are looking to take on trades today, which because it's the end of the week, end of the month, it's no point of going heavy. Take your risk in moderation. If you are going to be taking trades today, I would reduce my risk to a quarter, at a quarter of what you normally trade. Even if if you have already hit your goal, definitely. You already hit your goal for the week, definitely lower risk because there's no point in taking a big loss and taking away from what you put together for this week. If you are close to your goal for the week and you can do it with a small lot size, then take that approach, but don't use a big lot size thinking that, oh, I'm gonna make it if I just use my bigger or normal lot size. Like, don't do that, because now put yourself at risk for a bigger loss, and now you move away from your goal if you take a bigger loss. And then for you guys that are close to your weekly and you are kind of halfway there, what's the point of risking a flat week by losing a big trade? So, no point of over leveraging, trying to get that goal. If you're like halfway there and you think, oh, it's Friday, if I just risk this much, which is normally not my lot size that I trade with, but it's a little bigger. But if I can use that and try to make the goal halfway, make up the halfway point of my goal, I don't suggest that, because that's gonna, either put you in a negative or is going to put you in a point where you just did a whole bunch of work this week for no reason. And then finally, for you guys that are nowhere near your goal for the week, why try to make it all back in one day? Why try to go heavy on Friday when you couldn't get your weekly goal met the other 4 days of the week? So not a shot, but it doesn't make sense to go in super heavy right now on a day where there's a lot of news. We've been pretty much ranging, a lot of indecision. Don't take this opportunity to make what hasn't been a great week an even worse week. So I'll leave it at that. And I'll be doing another video later on. So if you like this information that I've provided, hit the like button, subscribe. You can hit me on IG, Corey Forex, or you can hit the Day Trader Versus page on YouTube, which this will probably be switched over at some point. And you can hit me on TradingView at the same Corey Forex. On that note, talk to you later. Have a great one.